Good morning and welcome back to Jack's Tech Corner. This is Photography Weekly, episode number 29. Coming up in today's show, shadows, preventing and correcting them in Photoshop Elements, and capturing morning light, and a little bit on composition and how to better compose your pictures. I say it's better to catch it in camera than to edit later on. So let's talk about that. And let's go ahead and get started here this week with Photography Weekly. Okay. Well, hopefully everybody's enjoying the new set there we have. We do have a new little backdrop set there, and I'll show you how that's done. About halfway through the show, we'll talk about that, and I'll show you what's going on there. So, we're going to first start talking about here this morning. Before we get started even, I want to let you know that tomorrow, it's a very rare occasion here, and I don't know if it's rare for you folks or not, but tomorrow I'm actually having an opportunity to go to my first photography conference. I've always wanted to go to one and see what went on there. So I was invited tomorrow to go to a photography conference, and it's pretty close by, so it's a local thing, and I get to talk to a lot of experts in photography and listen to a man that's going to be doing a keynote on portrait photography and lighting. Right up my alley, right? What I kind of enjoy to do is I do like doing portrait photography, and I enjoy different styles of lighting. So I think it should be a good time. Let's see here. I just wanted to bring that back up. But with the new little set behind me, it gives me a couple different variations of things we can do there. And we're going to talk about that. And I'm sure by now you know how we're doing this. We're actually chroma keying. And, I've done chroma key in the past, and I haven't done much with video chroma keying, so this is a start and a way to play around with it a little bit. So what did we want to talk about this week? Well, we wanted to talk about how we are going to use shadows, and how we're going to eliminate shadows, and better yet, how we're going to make sure that we never use or never have shadows. Because a shadow in a portrait, now shadows can actually enlighten a picture, right? It can bring out some detail if you have some shadowing. But I'm talking about the unsightly shadows we get behind somebody, not shadows on the face. We want some shadowing on the face to bring out detail. But, and I just heard that the other day, light defines and shadows bring out the detail. So that's something to remember. Light defines, shadow brings out detail. But the shadow I'm talking about is if you're doing a wedding or you're doing something and we take the camera for some strange reason, something in our brain says it's probably a good idea to do this. Hold on. And we take our camera and we do one of these jobbers. We turn it sideways or portrait mode. What happens then, what will happen with that flash sideways is the actual flash will cause a harsh shadow because it's hitting your subject, and it's also going to take that subject shadow and blast it onto the back wall behind them. So that is what happens when we turn our camera's portrait. Now you can get them also in landscape mode, but not as normal. It happens so much more, and I notice when I do weddings, if I go landscape, sometimes you're done with shadows. Not so much now that you learn more with light, but it actually is a way to have shadows. So keep your camera more in a landscape mode. If you have to go in the portrait mode, remember what we talked about last week with exposure settings and shutter speeds. Adjust that. And you're going to see more of that in this next part here about capturing morning light. I'm actually going to talk about some more exposure stuff that I found over yesterday, and we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so what is, try and get this mic set right here so you can hear me okay. So what we're going to talk about here first of all, so let's go ahead, and I have a picture here that was taken, not by me, but it was taken, and there is a shadow that we have to deal with. And I'm going to show you first of all in Photoshop Elements how to get rid of the shadow. Now folks, this is Photoshop Elements 10, but let me tell you it works in 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 just as well. Every version that basically has the tools I'm using, this tutorial is going to work for you. So let's go ahead, and I will bring up the, let's see here. All right, let me bring up my computer here. Okay, there we go. That's interesting. Let's see here which one these are. There we go. Okay, still trying to learn a little bit about these backgrounds and how they work, but we are now looking at a picture here in Photoshop Elements. What we want to do is eliminate that shadow in the backdrop there. We have to get rid of that shadow altogether. Now, how do you do that? Well, it's not really that difficult. And everybody out here has used these tools before. We are going to use one of my favorite tools, is the Clone Stamp tool. The Clone Stamp tool right now, this is your brush size. It's set at 50 pixels. But remember, try to remember your shortcut keys. You can use the left and the right bracket. Left and the right bracket. And make that bigger. Once you get to where you want to, and I know you've used the Clone Stamp tool before, it's just a nice way to get rid of shadows. Use the Alt button, hold the Alt key down, and you get that little bullseye. Click your mouse once and pick up a sample. Then you can just simply take your mouse and you can just drag, or you can click, whichever you prefer. Sometimes when I start getting closer to my subjects, I like to click. So that way if I have to undo, it's only one click. If you have to undo a whole swipe, then you have a whole other area to go over again. As you get closer to your subject, just start dropping your brush size down. Pick up another sample, and then just go at it again. Just take it up here. Just a nice way to get rid of a shadow. You know, the Clone Stamp tool is used for so much. A lot of people I see, well, Jack, I'll use the Clone Stamp tool if I have to actually get rid of large objects. Well, you can also use it for the small stuff. I mean, it works out really well. You're going to make that brush size a little bigger. I don't believe in working any harder on a picture than you have to. All right. Now when you come down here, you want to get another sample because it's a different color area. I don't know if it's different lighting on the wall, but you don't want to sample up here and pull it down here. That's the whole thing. You don't want to do that. There you go. And we're just getting rid of this shadowing here that's behind them. And this is probably some of the shadow down here also. Just like that. Okay, now you can see where we got rid of the shadow, right? It was very easy to do, very simplistic, and very quick. And so there you have it. That's how you would remove a shadow, and it works, like I said, very, very well. And sorry, let's go back a second there, because you know what I didn't do, and I do this more times than not. I know I preach it to you, and then I don't do it. It is I didn't duplicate the background layer to work on the picture. So just a safety feature you want to do if you want to work on your pictures, always duplicate that background layer. Now, there is ways that we can prevent the happening of a shadow. Okay, remember, shadows basically almost 98% of the time, a shadow is coming from the actual, get these headphones off here and make it a little easier to talk to you. The shadow is actually coming from a basic burst of light, usually from the on-camera flash. So about 97 to 98%, that is true. People use a pocket camera. This was actually my D80. I know she took the camera, and this is my youngest stepdaughter. My oldest stepdaughter is doing a lot of photography stuff, and she took a picture of her, and I know she was using a D80 with the on-camera flash. So still experimenting, and that's okay. So she got a little shadow, and we fixed it. Not a big deal. This is still a great picture. Anytime you take that person, a little bit about composition is the person should not always be looking at the camera. Let's get back up here. Okay, so the person shouldn't always be looking directly at the camera. Sometimes if they're looking off or down, it gives you that state of thought. It gives you that state of what are they actually thinking about? And that is what is really, really nice. So I like to take people and have them not looking directly at the camera. And I don't know what she was looking at here, but it makes me feel that maybe she was reading. She was in a state of thought. So, or maybe she was just looking at a piece of pie for all I know. But it's a very interesting shot. So now it is cleaned up. Now we're going to talk about how do you prevent the actual shadow from happening. Well, you're going to have to take the time. You're going to have to take some cash. And, you know, I watched a video here recently that said photographers are the only known hobby where you have to keep spending money to experiment with what you want to do. And it's a lot of times it's stuff you buy that you may not use all the time. Hence, a lot of lighting. If I didn't do these live shows, I wouldn't use half of the lighting that I have. I have stationary lighting, you know, just regular mono lights, and I wouldn't use them for much. I mean, they're used for this show, but other than that, you wouldn't use them for a whole lot. So, there is tools of the trade. I'm actually going to try to do this with this camera. This is an actual umbrella stand for a hot shoe flash. Now, people tell you that this is called a cold shoe mount. The reason that is you would need a form of trigger device for your camera, which makes it hot shoe. And the trigger device I have on there is a Cactus. It's a CACTUS. If you want to buy one of these things, they work. They work really, really well. It's a radio-controlled mechanism, and there is a piece that goes on the camera, and it triggers this actual remote unit. These things, you buy them on eBay, and I think I paid 20 bucks for them brand new. So they're really inexpensive, and they work. The umbrella stand here, actually I purchased more for the umbrella stand than I did for the actual remote triggers. But the umbrella stand is just that. You can put your umbrella on here. See right there? You can put your umbrella on there and use your hot shoe flash as a studio flash then. You put this part on a light stand. And light stands are not as expensive as you think. And a lot of people, for whatever reason, don't go to eBay first. Go to eBay first. Please go to eBay first. We're going to be talking next week, probably. I think we are anyway. We're going to be looking at a reflector that I just bought. And we're going to be talking about that reflector. And I bought the reflector off of eBay brand new for, I don't know, 15 bucks. And a friend of mine, she picked hers up from Amazon for about 30, so about half price. It's brand new, and we'll see how they stack up against each other. That's what I want to see, how the material stuff is. But we'll talk about that when that comes. So if you're looking for these things or the flash units, look on eBay first. So this is how you get your flash unit off the camera. A lot of people will tell you the best way to prevent shadows is get the flash off the camera and get it away from the camera itself. Now, with that said, we're going to have to spend some money. If you see right here, that's kind of weird. If you see right here, this is a hot shoe flash, or I like to refer to it as a off-camera flash because I don't use this on my camera a whole lot. A lot of you seen, if you look back through my shows when we did one video, I was talking about, on the one video we was actually talking about the flip flash that I have to actually get this way above the camera. And I can even take that flip flash and shoot it this way and shoot it into an umbrella. All right. That is a nice thing to do with this flash. And you can also, the best way to do it is take the head, and we've talked about this before, shoot it up against a white ceiling. When you shoot that up against a white ceiling, what's going to happen is it's going to make the light softer, and it's going to take the light and put it completely over your person. You're not going to get that harsh shadow that you'll get this way if you shoot it directly onto the person. So, and in the coming weeks, we're going to be working more with flash. So if anybody's interested in getting flash, you know, buy your flash unit if you'd like to pick one up, and then just stay tuned to the show because we're going to be doing some flash. I've actually let me see, I didn't hire her. I've actually convinced my oldest stepdaughter actually to be on the show. She's going to be working as a model for us, and we're going to be doing some flash photography with her. So we're going to do some studio work that you're going to see coming up here in the recent weeks. That's some stuff I have planned for you. So these shows I'm always planning. We're always thinking and turning, and I know you guys in the chat room always give me new ideas. Facebook is great. Throw them on there. Let me hear what you want to see. So that's the flash unit. They're very nice. The Nikon flash also, I told you a few weeks ago, has a command mode triggering feature as well as the Canon flashes. So if you have a Canon, you're okay there. So you may not need that remote trigger, but we'll talk about that later down the road, and we'll see the differences of those triggers and what they do, and the importance of different parts of the flash that we'll go over at a later time. I don't want to ruin the later show when doing this show. So that is how to get that done. Now, if you do not, or if you cannot, and that's fine, if you cannot afford a hot shoe flash or an off-camera flash, at the very least, take this flash, and either A, you can look for a thing called a puffer. Believe it or not, that's the name of it, a puffer. It slides right into the hot shoe right here. And I don't own one. I'm just telling you, you can buy this. And it goes over there. And what it does, it'll soften that actual light. What I like to do is I like to take a little index card, stick it in here, and I just turn it up, and a white index card will bounce that light off the ceiling. And again, you're going to have more diffused type lighting, and it's going to be softer lighting. So there you have it. It's a really nice way to soften down your light. You have to soften the light so you don't get the harsh shadows. Or, you know, what else? Red eye. And we don't talk much about red eye because it's a very, very early stage of photography is when you learn about red eye and how to get rid of it and dealing with it. So we don't talk about it much. And I think in the coming weeks we're going to have to talk about it. I know pretty much everybody in here is shooting with the DSLR. But we have to start covering and talking about some point and shoot stuff because a lot of people come to these YouTube videos and they're asking me questions about point and shoot cameras. And I don't want to leave those folks out either. But hey, what's the best pocket camera right now anyway? I told you a few weeks ago, right? Your cell phone. So there you have it. Okay, so that covers that aspect of shadows and how to get rid of them and what you need to worry about. Now, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shoot through this chat room right now and see what's going on there and cover our bases there and give shout outs to everybody that joined us here. So let's go ahead and go back through the chat room real quick. Good morning, Barb, Brian, Cheryl, Dan, good morning, sir. David B, Hugh, Jake Mountain. Hey, buddy, you must not have drank too much last night. You're awake and watching the show. Thanks for checking in. Jessica, good morning to you. Jody, Kevin, what's up? And, wow, this is a big one. MSCRZY, YouTube, well, good morning to you. Tech Zany, how you doing? And Vicky, good morning to you also. So, I covered everybody in the chat room. Now, let's take a second here and we got to get this in, if I can find it. let's see here. We just got to get this set up. And let me go over here. Okay, let me just talk about this for just a second here. You know, if you're fans of reading, and you know a lot of you are, hey, there's a great book being released tomorrow. Anybody know what it is? That's right, the biography of Steve Jobs. So there is a book coming out tomorrow. It's right down here on the bottom. You can see it, Steve Jobs. It's getting released tomorrow. So if you want to read about a great man and his fun-filled life of computers, that should be a really, really good book. I know I'm looking forward to it. You also can pick up a Nook. Hey, there's no better reading than reading on a Nook. So, but if nothing else, at least go in here and buy your books on photography. And I know you probably don't read as many books today because there's all these great shows on YouTube that you can watch teaching you photography. But just remember to pick up the books. And if you want to do anything with Barnes & Noble, go by my website, jackstechcorner.com, and scroll down here on the left and you'll find the deal of a day. And hey, when you're visiting Jack's Tech Corner, for all your YouTube fans out there that can't make the live shows, we have these great DVD collections so you can keep learning Photoshop elements as much as you want to learn and pick up some great tips and tricks and get you more on your way with photo editing. So that's it. That's the website. It's very easy to go through. Don't forget there, we have our show notes each and every week here. And I do put the current show right here so you can actually watch the latest show or the last week's show. So that's when this goes up there. Live classes are coming up if anybody's interested and in the area. There's a live class there where I work. It's going to be in McDonald, Pennsylvania. So you can email me for more information if you live around the Pittsburgh, PA region, and I will let you know. But these are starting next Thursday evening. It's going to be 4 consecutive Thursdays for 2.5 hours an evening. So there you have it. Okay, very, very good. We got through that little commercial break there. We had to have that and had to get that out there for you. So hopefully you're interested in that. Looking at the questions there real quick. Good morning, Kevin, saying good morning to Tech Zany. Kevin likes the new look of the studio here, sitting high on the hill. And if anybody looks at this view and knows Pittsburgh, look up Pittsburgh and look up Mount Washington. It looks like I'm actually sitting in my office here up on top of Mount Washington. Unfortunately, it's a nighttime picture. Don't give me too much negative feedback on that one. But it is what it is. I just wanted to have something different this morning, so I did that. I don't know if we'll do it every week, but it's pretty cool. Let me see, Jessica. I got my waterproof camera half off on eBay. Okay, you're talking about that waterproof camera you bought. That's great, and you had a half off. And you bought on eBay. Yeah, eBay's the first place I go to shop for photography stuff. Why wouldn't you? Even lenses. If I find a lens I want, I look at eBay first, and then I start looking at other places to see is there anything else I want. You know, or any better prices. Now, sometimes be careful, you know, and what I say about be careful with eBay is, one, read the people's feedback. So many people, oh, I bought something great off eBay and it never came. Read their feedback and you would probably find out that the person doesn't ship. But another misconception is eBay sells all junk. Wrong. eBay sellers sell a lot of brand new items. That's just the way it works. It's cheaper for me to have a store in my garage and sell you stuff and ship it to you than it would be to have a storefront and have everybody working for me and stock people, and it's cheaper just to have it in my garage. So eBay is a good place to go. Going through here, Ron, have you checked out Photoshop for the iPhone, Zany? Are you guys talking about Photoshop Express? We talked about that last week on the iPad. Or is there another one? Just looking here. Let's see here. Jessica, I've had it for a while and love it on the iPhone. You guys still talking about the Photoshop Express? I'm kind of wondering about that. PS Express. If not, maybe there's a better one I need to download. Jessica, you need to take a field trip to Pittsburgh. Guess what we have in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania? We have a plant that you would have to eventually engineer in or survey it. So it's very close to Pittsburgh. And maybe they need you there. So yeah, you can get to Pittsburgh. Kevin looks like he's a newscaster now. Hey, thanks, Kev. I don't know about newscasting. I like this to stay up, though. I like this little title there to be up on the screen. Okay, and Ron, you did say Photoshop Express. Now, here's a problem, guys, with Photoshop Express before we get to our next segment that I was having. The only thing I was having an issue with was not opening up large file sizes. I did some reading over the week, and what I found out was you have to import your pictures to your iPad using iTunes. And what it does some kind of it reduces the resolution of that picture somehow, and then it makes it so the Photoshop Express will open it. So there's a word of wisdom for you. Okay, then there's another one called King Camera. I haven't looked at that one yet. And PS Express from Jessica. Okay, so we got through the chat room, and I'll let you people just continue to chat as I talk here. Just kind of keep an eyeball on your screen and see what's going on. What we're going to talk about now is we're going to talk about early morning lighting and composition is what we're going to talk about. We're going to get started with that. So let me change some of my screens up here. And we're going to start with this one. And we will get started here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here with this particular wrong one. There we go. Okay, we're ready to go. So we're going to start you off with here. We have two very much different videos that we're going to start off with. The first one is going to be talking about composition. And then once we have that one done, I'll come back and then we're going to start talking about lighting and capturing natural light, which seems to be the biggest phenomenon right now going on between everybody out there. And we're going to go and talk about that. And I'm going to show you another video that I did yesterday morning that hopefully you'll be interested in. So let's go ahead and get started here. Okay, very good on that. Hope you've enjoyed that little video clip there. It talks about composition, and it shows you about leading edges and about leading your viewer's eye. And I know a lot of you out there are very good with this because I look at your work on Flickr, I look at your work on Facebook, and I know that you're very, very good at this stuff. So we have a really, really great group of people here. So the next video that I'm going to show you, we're talking about early morning light. And the video will pretty much tell you when I started this and everything. For the production quality of the video, it may not be up to the standards that you're used to seeing in my videos because I was in a car shooting this on my own yesterday morning. So, but I want you to see this, and I want you to see these pictures that I took yesterday, and then we'll come back and talk about composition. For those of you in there asking about my Skype line, I'll open the Skype line once we get through this topic, and then we'll go ahead and take questions at the end of this show. Today is how we're going to go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead, and we're going to bring up this other video I did. Let me get it set up here so we can see it well. And the first one was a video I found actually on composition. That was not me. Let's see here. Select a region. Let me get this set up here so it looks good. And we'll go from there. Okay, let's go ahead and switch it over here. And hopefully I look all right there. Hear that background. Okay, so we'll go ahead and go through this one now. I'm just getting ready here to set out to do some early morning photography. We're looking for some natural lighting, and that's what I'm going to be working on, some natural lighting here. So we're going to set out now. I'm in the car. You can probably hear it running. And got the cameras geared up here in the back seat. So it's about 6:47 a.m. So we're going to go ahead and get started here and get on the road. And I have a couple places picked out where we can get some early morning photography and capture some of the morning light. So here we go. Now, as I was driving, I decided to pull the car over and just take a couple shots here with my headlights illuminating the road, and this is what I came up with. Hey YouTube, hopefully this looks all right. I'm currently sitting at the spot where I want to do some photography stuff, so get some photographs here. Took a little ride this morning. It's about 7:04 a.m. And we're waiting for some natural light. We're waiting for some early morning light to come up on the hillside here to start capturing some pictures. We're going to be using a 50mm lens, and then my kit lens that came with the Nikon D7000, which is a 18x70 lens. And we're going to see the difference. Then I'll talk to you more about these after we get the pictures done. So let's go ahead and set up here with the tripod, and we're going to get shooting. The first 3 pictures we're going to be looking at here is with the 50mm lens, and I'm playing with the aperture as well as the shutter speed and the ISO settings to try to capture the perfect image of the morning light. And as you can see here, what happened with the 50mm lens, it has such a wide opened f-stop with that f1.8, it wouldn't let me capture it properly. Now we're actually shooting here not with a 18x70mm lens. This is an 18x105mm lens. And again, I'm just totally working with the shutter speed and the aperture settings is how I'm working with this. And we're trying to capture that perfect image. And finally, in this last picture you're going to see right here is where the image came out to the point where I felt the lighting and everything was just the way I wanted it. Now we came out here, I took a little bit further ride, and I found a covered bridge. So I'm going to take both of my cameras out. I have the D80 with me with a 50mm lens. Then I got the D7000 with the 18x, I guess it's a 105 lens. I said earlier 70, but it's an 18x105. I'm going to take some shots of this covered bridge and see what we come up with. So I'm going to hop out of the car, and that's where I'm heading now. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, once I stepped out of the car, I pulled the camera out with the 50mm lens and grabbed a quick shot, and this is what I got. Very overexposed shot. I then set the aperture up a little bit and adjusted the shutter speed, and you can see it cleaned the picture up a lot. Took care of that brightness, and we cleaned it up. Then I wanted to show you, this is just a snapshot. If somebody would just take a picture, it would be a snapshot. It would look something like this one here. But if you compose your shot, composition is almost 100% of photography. Move your feet to get the shot that you're looking for. It's much more rewarding. And then take many shots. Digital film is digital, photography. Take as many pictures as you possibly want. I then walked to the other side and I started shooting, and you come up with a different perspective altogether of what you're taking pictures of. So it comes out really, really nice and clean. This is a shot with a 50mm lens just to show you the difference of how that lens is going to capture the picture other than the 17x105. I then wanted to do some shots using a natural frame. So I used a window as a frame, and I took some pictures of the foliage outside of the actual bridge. Again, stepping back gave me a little bit different perspective. It gave me more of a frame, and you can see there now that it is a window. I then kicked the flash on just to see if we can get something different and usable. I don't really like it. It's not really rewarding to me, but we have it anyway. I then wanted to take a shot. This is an angled shot, you can see, using the window again as a frame, but I angled onto the shot itself. Now I just wanted to take a perspective of going through the bridge, leading you down that road, and this is a pretty bright shot. And then adjusting the exposure, I wanted to darken it up a little bit, and that's exactly what we did here. We darkened the picture down And this is what I came up with. Okay, so you see how I came up with those shots. My wife actually, when I told her I was leaving the house, and it was, I don't know, 6:30 in the morning is when I went out yesterday. She thought I was absolutely out of my mind because Saturday morning, it's a weekend, but I was looking for early morning light. I'm trying to learn more about natural lighting, and I wanted to share that with you. They always say don't take pictures in the middle, the mid part of the day, because what do you have? You have those harsh shadows coming over everything. Early morning and early evening is the best times to capture everything. So, Jessica, he was concerned about global cooling. Yeah, that was not snow on the ground. Jessica pointed out in the chat room. She said, "Was that snow?" That was actually the lighting, I guess. And I looked at that shot too. It was a little white on the bottom. But you guys, you've seen the 50 millimeter lens and what it will do for you with that big, big wide 1.8 f-stop. It allows so much light in. You have to shoot differently with that lens. It does work great. It's a beautiful lens. I love it for indoors. Outdoors, it works, but to me, you're changing your focal point, and I've been watching some shows, and I don't know if you guys put it in the chat room to tell me if you believe this or not. People state that our eyes visually see 50 millimeters, and that is what I heard. When I was taking those pictures and I looked at that covered bridge and I pulled that camera up and took a picture, I'm thinking, this isn't all I've seen. I didn't just see that one side. So I don't buy that at all. But composition, remember, folks, compose your picture. Take that time and compose it. I walked around that covered bridge for about an hour looking at every side of it. Looking in the ground. I was next to a creek bed there. I was looking for snakes. Not a big snake guy, but there he was. I was looking for snakes. I also came up with a couple other pictures I wanted to show you and share with you. Let's see if I can bring these up. There's this one. You can see it here behind me. Look, I'll go, whoops, that way, behind me. That is actually a picture. I was driving down country roads, and I came up on a country hillside, and I looked over and thought, wow, that's an amazing picture, except for that crappy-looking sky. But most of you out there that know me know that I'll probably replace the sky anyway and then frame it because it's a nice shot. And I don't know if this is the picture, Jessica, where you thought that back there was snow or not, but it is what it is. I don't think it's snow. Doesn't look like much back there, but that one was really, really white, and I'll give you that. It did look like snow. I guess they recently painted this bridge. Probably knew I was coming out to take pictures of it and thought, we better paint it before Jack gets here. So there you have it. I'd like to thank each and everyone for joining me this Sunday morning and for coming from the YouTube side to watch this video. And, you people make it so I can actually do these videos. If you weren't watching, there'd be no sense of me doing these at all. And I'm very humbled that everybody comes and spends time with me, especially on Sunday mornings. I mean, a lot of people say it's a weird time, Jack, but you keep coming back, and I'm so happy to have you here. I'm happy for you to let me into your computer rooms and to teach you a little bit about photography. So we are going to wrap this week up, and this is a great week coming up here because of the fall. The leaves are falling off the trees around our neck of the woods here, but get those cameras out there and get some pictures, folks, and join our Facebook group. The Facebook group is Jack's Tech Corner. Join our Flickr group, which is Jack's Tech Corner also, and get those pictures up there and share them with the group. We'd love to see your work. And until next time, keep those shutters clicking, keep the editors editing, and I'll see you back here very soon on Photography Weekly next Sunday for another show. Bye for now.